Prior to voting on the veto overrides, lawmakers hammering out the final details of a $12.9 billion budget for fiscal year 2024 beginning on July 1st. With the details in the largest budget in state history, we are joined by our Capitol correspondent, Jason Doyle, reporting from our OETA studio in the state capitol. Jason.
Rich, as the final days of the first regular session of the 59th legislature began to wane, earnest work got underway at 23rd and Lincoln, with Republican legislative leaders praising the compromise to reach the historic budget agreement.
4 months is feels like it's been a long time.
Especially when education funding held up the process for nearly a month. However, this record budget for the next fiscal year has House Speaker Charles McCall calling it a success.
It's been a really good session, though. I'm really proud of the members of the Oklahoma House of Representatives. They've really worked extra hard. We've put some really big topics on the table to try to find solutions for.
McCall's counterpart across the rotunda, Senate President Pro Tem Greg Treat, has a similar opinion of this year's session.
I just think this session has been very successful all in. Obviously there was some controversy and some friction, but that's part of the process. Excited what we've been able to accomplish this year.
Starting on Tuesday, legislators put their shoulders to the grindstone and began the committee work necessary to get the final appropriations bills to the chamber floors. While the budget is record-breaking, lawmakers still took a cautious approach to spending.
Also, the question about how come we didn't appropriate our full authority and there's money still left over for appropriations. Another conservative move to make sure that when the next downturn comes, the agencies don't have to take cuts. So we are looking ahead. We are trying to plan ahead, and we know there will be another downturn.
At nearly $4 billion, it was the education funding piece, which was the single biggest part of the budget.
You know, this will be the largest appropriation of the common education of all time. There's a teacher pay raise. There's $200 million increased funding to transportation, more money towards mental health. I mean, you name it, this is an opportunity for Oklahoma to fund all these agencies in a great way.
Legislative leaders say the education budget is the crown jewel for this session.
Largest funding package in state's history, moves us to the highest level in state history of funding education in the state, opens up some options for parents that want to pursue private education or education by alternative means.
We've got to stop having this conversation. Is it in a private setting, is it in a public setting? What's best for the kid? And this year we put aside those things that divide us and said, let's just invest in kids. And we did so both on the public side and the private side. So I'm very proud of that work.
Two issues which were talked about long before this session began in February are a personal income tax cut and the phasing out of the state's portion of grocery sales taxes. In fact, Governor Stitt called a special session for that very reason last summer, which was unsuccessful. Those tax breaks didn't make it out of this session either, and while they didn't make it, there are some tax reforms coming.
We tried to look at balancing recurring revenue, and those tax cuts that we could afford through the franchise and the marriage penalty, we were ready to accept. We thought those were good policy and good measures financially.
In the area of tax reform, we're eliminating the franchise tax this year. That's kind of come late in the session. And we're also eliminating the marriage penalty, which will help married couples in the state of Oklahoma when they file their state income tax.
Oklahomans can expect the income tax and the grocery tax cuts to remain attractive ideas for lawmakers.
Because this session closes out, the discussion and action on an income tax for the people of the state of Oklahoma, tax reform to move to a flat tax rate in the state of Oklahoma, those things we're still going to press for very hard.
During the House floor consideration of the budget bills, House Minority Leader Representative Cindy Munson asked if state employees might be getting a raise.
I know we obviously are giving a pay raise to our teachers, and we're doing paid maternity leave for state employees. Are there any pay raises or pay increase for state employees in this budget?
There are some additional funds for operations in a few of the agencies, which I do believe part of them will probably be used for increases in certain agencies pay. Yes, there will be some state employees that get pay raises. Not every state employee is going to get a pay raise.
Within this spending plan, there were investments to attract businesses to expand in Oklahoma, like Enel Energy building a $1 billion solar panel factory at the port of Inola.
We've made more investments in bringing jobs and industry to this state, and we are talking about companies and industries that make multi-billion-dollar investments, facilities that are multi-billion, employ over in excess of 1,000 people.
And there is an investment of past savings into a special fund to help state agencies catch up to deferred maintenance on buildings.
So, for example, we started the Legacy Capital Fund this year. It's something we just voted on in committee. It's an opportunity to use the dollars that we have to make sure that this maybe once in a lifetime opportunity, hopefully not, is an opportunity to actually make sure Oklahoma is set up for the future.
As far as the possibility that the budget will be well received by Governor Stitt,
I hope he'll be enthusiastic and sign it as soon as he gets it.
By convening a special session and running the budget bills through that process, lawmakers have given themselves time to come back and override any vetoes which Governor Stitt may use on the spending measures.